Good morning, everybody. Gym session starting, early morning. Something I didn't say in yesterday's catch up with you. I'm taking this whole thing really serious when it comes to like my own body health. For the first time ever, I have been to a chiropractor. Some of you will have seen in previous vlogs that I have been really struggling with my back. I thought I've had enough of this. I'm doing a lot of travelling, so it was kind of getting worse and worse and worse. I felt like I was getting a little bit better with it, and then it just dropped off again. So we went and had a bit of a chat about what kind of flared it up, and I think it reverts back to speed training. Can those of you that will have watched, well, so those of you that will remember, I was doing some speed training stuff during COVID, during lockdown, and thrashing away there with the old sticks, weighted sticks, going through the process of the process that they say that you should kind of go through to do it. And I think that's what's tweaked it, because coming out of lockdown, that was the worst. I've never felt it ever before, my back. I think we're going to put it down to the fact that it was the speed training sticks that were causing the problem. I was swinging at it with the wrong parts, let's say, of my body, and a bit tight down there, and it's caused some damage. So anyway, a few areas of my body that need to be dealt with. Left shoulder is not in a great place, and my whole kind of spine is tilted. So you think about golf, where you're always set up into that kind of tilted position, hitting up on the golf ball, certainly if you're hitting a lot of drivers and things like that. So everything's kind of shifted down on one side. So I've got lots and lots of strength in my abs. So he was like quite impressed with how my abs were really, really strong. And I think I put that down to the fact that I don't use my legs as much in my golf swing. I use my midsection of my body to swing the club, maybe. So I kind of put it down to that, which means I'm weak in my kind of glutes, I'm weak in my legs, and those are the things that I need to kind of try and see if I can build up on and improve on. But I've also got a slight twist, turn, or kink, should we call it, in my spine, which again, I put it down to the fact that it's just where it's curved from all that time of hitting golf balls and playing golf and doing the thing that I've done for, well, since I was 9 years old. So it's a long time, isn't it, of hitting balls? Anyway, heading to the gym now. Just got to get through this morning traffic. I've got a few stretches that I've got to do from the chiropractor, and then we'll work on another area of the body. Oh, my word. Right. Right, I will tell you a little bit about what's happening with KBS in just a moment, but I've got an appointment at midday today. I'm getting myself kind of ready for it, because this is the psychology side of things. I've kind of been through a bit of a process with this already with somebody else. They're kind of living up country, so I personally just felt it was a bit difficult to kind of keep that relationship kind of moving forward. So having somebody more local, I think, kind of sits with me maybe a little bit better. I've got a few things that I want to get off my plate, which I think are related to not only my general life, but also my golf. I'm really interested to see what he has to think about all of that. I know that obviously golf is a key area of what we're talking about, but I think it's all intertwined in some way, shape or form. So not sure how much I want to talk to you about that right now. I want to kind of talk to him first, and then see what I can kind of, let out the bag and what I can kind of talk about publicly. So, it will be interesting to see how this kind of consultation, let's call it, goes. I'm actually really excited because there's a few things that I really want to get off my plate. There's a few questions that I want answers to, which I definitely feel will help with my golf. Now, KBS, look at the tour bag. That is just an absolute thing of beauty. And what we've got in here is a lot of shafts. I've got
shafts from pretty much everything that they do online in there. Putter shafts, we've got wedge shafts, we've got obviously full iron shafts. We haven't got the wood shafts yet because there's a new release coming out in the very near future of that, so they will be in there as well. But what I'm doing, and this is kind of a bit of a glimpse behind the scenes of how my brain kind of ticks, I'm working with KBS in more detail. I don't know if you noticed, but I recently went into a KBS shaft in my irons. I've been really kind of happy of how the KBS have gone in my irons. The feel on them is just great. The launch that I'm getting out of them, really, really good. So we're now going to do some work together on some social stuff. As I go through the process of fittings with different companies, I see positives and negatives in everywhere that I go. Probably the one that jumps out to me the most is obviously the difference between, let's say, the Mizuno and the Titleist fitting kind of setup. When I went to Mizuno, obviously I had somebody who was a tour fitter, somebody who works on the tour van, went through the process with me, and we did an amazing, it was eye-opening to see how my iron heads were so different in their production, but yet his touch on them brought them to the right weights that they would blend in perfectly with the shaft that I had for my setup. Whereas when I go to Woburn, obviously you have that same service, you get that precision in what you do with from a fitting point of view, so the shafts, the heads, and all of those sorts of things. But I'm still not a tour player, so I can't then go in there and have my clubs built for me there and then like I did at Mizuno. Whereas like Justin Rose as an example, he was having his clubs tweaked in that kind of area of Woburn as he's hitting golf balls. In my mind, that is huge. And probably what I've noticed the most is that when players bring their clubs in, if there is a massive difference in my Mizuno heads to what they should be and what actually they've ended up as, then wow, how many other companies are in the same boat? How many sets of clubs are out there that aren't quite right to the player? Anyway, so what I've kind of come up with the idea is, I've got these universal adapters which then I'm going to put onto the shafts of these particular shafts that I've got. What I'll do is I'll get then the heads of all the different companies, more recent ones probably, and I will then be able to put on any head on the KBS shafts. And I've got all the different shafts that are available from KBS, which to me is really exciting because we can do this with lots of shafts as well down the line. And what that means is if somebody comes to Jersey for a fitting, in the future, don't go chasing me down right now, but in the future, then we can have everything there that people want to test instead of just getting the fitting carts from the companies. I think this is mega. I think there's an amazing opportunity with this. Obviously, we're seeing it in a few other companies around the country, but there's nothing really in the Southwest. So this is exciting times, one of which I'm keen to see what happens with KBS in the future, but also what can happen in our little studio here at Churston. There's a knock on the door, so I've got to now go and get fired up for this consultation. There's been a delivery. Oh, yes, I've been waiting for this one, to be fair. Little bag. Now, there is a little story with this one. This is called Timber Touch Putter Works. Now, Timber Touch Putter Works sent Bernie a putter. A beautiful wooden, let me just, hang on a minute, let me just open it up and just share it with you. There it is. This is a wooden putter. And Bernie was on the putting green with his one that he got sent to review. And I picked it up and I thought, wow, that looks really quite nice. And not only does it look really quite nice, the craftsmanship to create it was amazing. And the feel off the face, well, it just took me back in time, if I'm honest. That soft, really soft feel from the wood when you strike it is absolutely stunning. However, this one, we've actually got the DHG logo that they've put on there. It looks absolutely stunning. Nice thick grip on top there, and the head cover itself, pretty classy. There's a bag. And inside the bag, there's a new hat, which feels great. And what else we got in here? It looks like, ball markers. Wow, wooden ball markers with a little hat clip, which will sit on there, and then the magnet on the hat clip keeps the wooden ball marker on there, and the ball marker is the DHG logo on there as well. Got 3 of those to have a little play with. Looks like Bernie's got a little present as well, which I'll share with him. That is the new putter, which has been revealed, but I want to talk to you a little bit more about the psychology session that I've just been through. So let's go up and hit some golf balls and have a little chat about it, because the practice has to continue. Well, I've got to say, that session was everything I would hoped it would be to get us going with. I revealed an awful lot to Gary, and I will kind of talk to you a little bit about him at some point, and I just need to speak to him a bit more about kind of what he wants me to share and things at this moment in time. But yeah, a lot of the stuff that I've kind of talked about in today's session is more about my sort of personal life, but that has a massive bearing on what actually happens in my golf world as well. You know, having the experiences that I've had over the years, both on and off the golf course, and playing in big events, and kind of dealing with like maybe expectation levels of me as a player from not just, you know, teams that I've played in the past, but also myself, what I kind of think that other people think of me when I'm playing, and kind of the events that I've shied away from over the years. And when I say shied away from, you know, I have not entered an awful lot over the years. You know, take open qualifying as a prime example. I think back in 2004 was the first time I ever entered open qualifying. I was a college student at the time, and I got into the event as in open qualifying, the initial stage, and I got through first stage. I ended up in like a 10-man playoff, and I made a birdie on the first and then made my way through, and I got kind of like in the top 5 of the reserve list, and then I was straight into the final qualifying, and then played with a guy called Stephen Bowditch, who went on to win the actual qualifying and did quite well in the Open back in, I think it was 2004 at St George's. But ever since that, I've never entered open qualifying, and I just don't understand why I've shied away from that. So something has obviously triggered me to almost be fearful of playing in tournaments, fearful of results, probably results orientated. And these are the things that we're going to kind of go through, not only like I said on the golf course, but obviously what happens in my personal life as well, and then what happens in business. So it'll be interesting to see where we kind of end up with that. I'll keep you posted on exactly what we've done, but ultimately today was all about just getting a bit of an insight, giving him an insight into me personally as to some of the things that I've gone through, certainly in my youth, and then moving up into kind of what I've done later on in life. But got to show you this shot. I always said that whenever I'm researching stuff or looking into different ways of playing different types of shots, I try and share as much as I possibly can with you for this journey. Well, when you're coming out of a situation like this one where there is literally no sand, so I've kind of, where I've worn it away hitting shots, so not a lot of sand left here, just a little dusting on top, and then right underneath you can, it's pretty solid there. Now, the way to play this shot, or the way I'm going to show you how to play it today, is you got to get the bounce away. So obviously on this wedge I've got 60 degrees, I've got 10 degrees of bounce, and what most people want to do off this lie is they're going to want to try and get loft on the club. They want to get the ball up and out of that situation as quick as possible. It's the worst thing you can do, because as soon as you lean that club back or open the face up, that leading edge is going to want to rise up because the bounce is really kicking in. What I'm doing here, which is really quite interesting, you can either square the face off, or you can just open it slightly but lower the handle right down, so it makes it feel like the kind of club, the toe of the club is up in the air a little bit, and that'll allow this leading edge in the corner here to really dig in. And once that gut starts to go south, it allows the whole blade to go into the sand really quite easily. So all I'm doing is lowering the handle of the club, so I'm lowering my hands down and then allowing that heel to really dig in, and it really nips up underneath the shot. There you go. So I'm literally down into the lower part of the sand, the old sand, and that club just happily digs in, because the edge on the inside of that kind of wedge there, it kind of feels like it's a little bit thinner and allows it to be able to dig in just a little bit easier. And I really make it easy. It comes out with loads of spin as well.
just a different way of doing things, but it's important that I show you. And as always, when you're playing bunker shots, make sure you give yourself plenty of space from the ball. If you're an anxious bunker player, you're going to get in there as close as you possibly can. Have a little look at your wedge. If you've got some wear areas on the corner here, that means you're too close to the ball. Give yourself that freedom, give yourself that stretching sensation over the ball. It will stop you digging down too much in the bunker play.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that Sunday morning show and a bit of an insight into kind of what I'm doing when it comes to my bunker play. My bunker play is actually what I would class as pretty good. I just need to finely tune a few things, and it's always good to try and get in there and try out a few different shots in different situations. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again, not tomorrow, because there will be a vlog out tomorrow, which if you're coming to this video maybe a little bit later, then that vlog will be there. And I will see you after the vlog. I will see you on Wednesday.